You're face down in the surf zone at 2 a.m. The Pacific Ocean is 58 degrees. Your arms are linked with 5 other men, and the instructor is
Keep
standing over you
swimming.
screaming that you can
Don't
quit
stop
anytime.
until
A
you hit
bell is
that
hanging 30
horizon.
feet away.
Faster.
All you have to do is ring it, and you get a warm blanket, a cup of coffee, and a ride home. 3 men have already rung it tonight. Welcome to the beginning. You are not a Navy SEAL. You're not even close. You are a candidate. Class 331 started with 220 men. You are in week 4 of basic underwater demolition SEAL training in Coronado, California. By the time this is over, fewer than 30 of you will remain. The rest will ring that bell, snap a bone, or simply vanish from formation one morning without a word. Your day starts at 4:30 a.m. with a 4-mile timed run in boots and pants on soft sand. Then you hit the ocean, then the obstacle course, then the pool where instructors tie your hands and feet and you have to survive underwater for 2 minutes without panicking. You've done this 9 times now, and every single time your brain screams that you are going to die. You are not earning money worth talking about. Base military pay for your rank is around $24,000 a year. You eat cold chow. You sleep maybe 3 hours a night during Hell Week, 5.5 days of continuous training with no sleep at all. Men hallucinate. Men collapse. One guy in your class tried to have a conversation with a tree stump because he thought it was his mother. The instructors watched and took notes. They're not looking for the strongest. They're looking for the ones who refuse to stop. You survive BUDS, all 6 months of it. You survive SQT, the SEAL qualification training that follows. You learn land warfare, close quarters combat, combat diving, freefall parachuting, and small unit tactics. After 18 months of the hardest military training on the planet, you receive your Trident pin, a gold eagle clutching a trident, a pistol, and an anchor. You are now a SEAL operator, an E4 or E5 enlisted man. You report to Naval Special Warfare Group, and you are assigned to a SEAL team. There are 10 numbered SEAL teams, and each one has specific areas of responsibility around the globe. Your platoon is 16 men. Your squad is 8. This is your family now. These men know your heartbeat in the dark. They know your breathing pattern when you are scared versus when you are calm. You know theirs. Your first deployment is 6 months long. You train for 18 months before you go. That ratio matters. 18 months of preparation for 6 months of execution. You rehearse every scenario until your muscles memorize the movements. Room clearing, hostage rescue, ambush response, target elimination. By the time you step off the aircraft in a country you cannot name to anyone outside your team, every action is automatic. You fast rope from a helicopter onto a compound roof in total darkness. Night vision turns the world green. You move through doorways with your rifle raised and your trigger finger indexed along the receiver. The man in front of you enters the room. You follow 1 second behind, you clear left, he clears right. A hostile reaches for a weapon on the table, 2 rounds, center mass. The room is clear in 4 seconds. Your heart rate is 140. You breathe, you move to the next room. After the deployment, you come home. Your family picks you up at the airport. Your daughter doesn't recognize you at first because you have a beard and you lost 15 pounds. That night, you lie in bed and the ceiling fan sounds exactly like a helicopter rotor. You don't sleep. You earn between 60,000 and 80,000 a year with combat pay, hazard pay, dive pay, and jump pay stacked on top of base salary. You are not rich. You are exhausted, but you are operational, and there's nothing else in the world you would rather be doing. After 4 or 5 deployments, you are a senior operator in E6, maybe an E7. You have a chest full of ribbons you never wear and a body full of damage you never mention. Your knees grind when you walk upstairs. Your back locks up on cold mornings. You have had 2 concussions from breaching charges, and the ringing in your left ear never stops. But now you are the experienced one. The younger guys look at you the way you used to look at the veterans when you first got to the team. You run the training, you plan the operations, you sit in the briefing room and tap the satellite image and say, this is where we enter and this is where we extract. And this is the contingency if everything goes wrong. Because things go wrong. They always go wrong. You have lost friends. You carry their names in your head every single day. One of them died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. Another one bled out in a mud compound in a province you still cannot pronounce. You were holding his vest, trying to stop the bleeding, and telling him the medevac was 2 minutes out. It was 7. You do not talk about these things at dinner parties. Someone asks you what you do for a living, and you say government work, and you change the subject. You start teaching the new guys how to pack their gear, how to check their parachutes, how to breathe when the bullets start flying. You watch them make the same mistakes you made. You let them make some of them because that's how they learn, but you pull them back from the big ones. The ones that get people killed. You see potential in one of them. He reminds you of yourself when you started. Raw, hungry, a little reckless. You take him under your wing. You don't call it mentorship. You call it making sure he doesn't get himself killed. Now you face a decision. You can stay enlisted and push for E8 or E9, the highest enlisted ranks, a senior chief or a master chief. These men are the backbone of the SEAL teams. A master chief with 20 years of service has done more combat deployments than most people can imagine. He earns around 90,000 to 110,000 a year with allowances. He does not plan missions from satellite photos anymore. He manages the entire enlisted corps of his command. He mentors young operators. He sits across the table from officers and tells them the truth, even when the truth is ugly. The officers listen because a Master Chief has something no amount of rank can buy. He has been there. He has done it. His opinion carries the weight of every door he has ever kicked in. A Master Chief knows every man in his command by name. He knows who is going through a divorce, whose kid is sick, who is drinking too much, who is ready to lead. He walks the barracks at midnight and finds a young operator cleaning his weapon for the third time that day. He sits down on the bunk next to him and doesn't say anything for a while. Then he talks about the first man he lost. Not the details, just the weight. The young operator listens. He doesn't feel better, but he feels less alone. That's the job. The Master Chief writes evaluations that determine careers. He recommends who gets promoted and who gets pushed out. He hates this part. He has looked men in the eye and told them they don't have what it takes to stay. Some of them thank him later. Some never speak to him again. He accepts both outcomes. He has a saying, hard right over easy wrong. He lives by it. He enforces it. Or you go a different direction entirely. You apply for a commissioning program. You become an officer. You go from being the man in the stack to the man behind the map. A SEAL officer starts as a lieutenant junior grade or a lieutenant. Your job is no longer to execute the mission. Your job is to plan it, resource it, and own the outcome. You are responsible for 16 lives in your platoon. Every decision you make can send men home to their families or send their families a folded flag. The money is better. A SEAL lieutenant makes around $85,000 to $100,000. A lieutenant commander makes $110,000 to $130,000. But the weight is heavier. You sign the operation orders, your name goes on the document. If a mission fails and men die, there is no hiding behind someone else's signature. You learn a new language, not Arabic or Pashto, bureaucracy. You fight for funding, for equipment, for training time. You brief colonels who have never been in combat. You explain why your men need new night vision goggles when the old ones still work. You learn that working and working well enough to bet your life on are two different things. You become an advocate, a politician, a protector of your platoon from the machinery above them. The first time you lose a man, you are in the operations center when the radio call comes in. You don't cry. You don't break. You note the time. You confirm the details. You start the notifications. You do this because you were trained to do this. Later, in the shower, with the water running hot, you let yourself feel it, just for 2 minutes. Then you turn off the water and go back to work. There are still 15 men who need you to be sharp. You climb further. Commander Captain, you are now running an entire SEAL team or a naval special warfare group. Hundreds of operators answer to you. You sit in rooms at the Pentagon with admirals and generals and intelligence directors. You look at maps of 5 different countries where your men are deployed right now tonight while you drink coffee in a building in Virginia. You make 150,000 to 180,000 a year. You have a driver, you have a staff. You have the kind of security clearance that makes your file disappear from normal databases. But you also have a phone that rings at 3 a.m. with news that makes your stomach drop. Operator down. You make the calls. You manage the crisis. You write the letter to the family. Then you go to work the next morning and do it again. You travel constantly. You visit your teams in the field, unannounced. You want to see the truth, not the presentation they prepare for visiting brass. You land at a forward operating base in the middle of the night. You don't wake the commander. You find the youngest operator on duty and you ask him about his gear, his training, his morale. He tells you the truth because he doesn't know who you are yet. Then someone whispers in his ear and he stands at attention. You tell him to relax. You tell him to keep telling the truth to whoever asks. That's how problems get fixed. You fight wars on 2 fronts, the enemy overseas and the budget battles at home. You testify before Congress. You explain why special operations cannot be cut, why these men cannot be replaced with technology, why the investment in their training pays dividends no spreadsheet can capture. Some senators listen, some check their phones. You do your job regardless. The very top is Admiral. 1 star, 2 stars, the highest a SEAL has ever reached is a 4-star Admiral. Commander of all United States Special Operations Command. Every special operator in every branch, SEALs, Green Berets, Rangers, Delta, Marine Raiders, all of them fall under your authority. You control a budget of $13 billion. You advise the president directly. You sit in the Situation Room when the most sensitive operations in American history are being executed. You earn around 220,000 a year in base pay. You have a security detail. You have a motorcade. You have the power to send the most lethal human beings on Earth anywhere on the planet within hours, but you also carry every name. Every operator who did not come home under every command you ever held, they stay with you. They are the first thing you think about in the morning and the last thing you think about before you close your eyes. You meet with families, not just the ones who lost someone, but the ones who are waiting. You sit in living rooms in middle America and you look parents in the eye and you promise them that their son is in good hands. You mean it. You also know that you cannot promise he will come home. You carry that dishonesty because the truth would break them before the worst happens. You brief the president in the Oval Office. You explain the risks of the operation on the table. You give him options. You tell him what you recommend. He asks you if it will work. You tell him the percentage. You don't tell him that you made up the number because there is no math for courage, for luck, for the 1,000 variables that determine who lives and who dies. He decides. You execute. That is